network security solutions, and we started with firewall and IPS. Today we'll continue our discussion on network security solution. There are a couple of more solutions that most of the company rely on, and let's take a look at that. Let me share my screen. So the next technology that we'll be discussing is called Web Gateway. Web Gateway and what it does and how it works. Let's take a look at it. So we have already established this network wherein we have our typical infrastructure, users on one side, servers on the other side. We have deployed our firewall. We have a DMZ for public facing servers. And then we also have the IPS for scanning, to do the deep packet inspection. Now, most of the companies, or even probably every company, will need their employees or the users in the company to reach out to the internet or connect to the internet. Either the employee will reach out to the internet, or the internet, somebody in the internet will reach out to the employee. Right. So that there are two ways distinctively through which the employees will connect to the internet on a regular basis. There will still be exceptional cases here and there, but the most common ways that the users will reach out to or connect to internet are, first one is for browsing internet. Right, so when I say browsing internet, basically to do any work related research, it could be to do social media, personal emails, maybe some partner portals are hosted. So all these things, including online shopping. So any of these things the employees might be doing. Of course, not everything is productive, but we like say every now and then we do tend to do all these things. So browsing internet basically means two protocols, HTTP and HTTPS, which means port number 80 and 443. In general, this is referred to as a web traffic. So employees connect to the internet. One of the reason is for accessing web or the internet browsing. The second will be to send and receive emails. Okay, this is a new thing. Is it echoing for everyone? Is there an echo in my eyes, in my voice? Sorry. All good. Okay. Okay. Let me see. I have muted my laptop, so hopefully this will, if at all, if there was an echo from my side, it should reduce now. All right. So what I was saying was the second reason for which we will let our users connect to the internet is to send and receive emails. So this is let's say and these emails will have attachments and links, right? So and we might also get a lot of spam emails, right? So and attachment might be malicious. It could be a malware. Links can be a phishing link where the attacker will lure the employee to click on something and maybe do credential harvesting or force him to download something. These kind of things. So the email traffic is SMTP. Right? So SMTP traffic, let's say, works on port number 25. In general, we refer to this as email traffic. So the two ways in which predominantly we let our users interact with the internet is web traffic and email traffic. Again, as I said, exceptionally, there will be certain cases where we will be allowing some other protocols also for maybe selected users. Maybe somebody in the company has a requirement where they have to connect it to the client's FTP portal. So you have to allow them FTP as well. But these are all, let's say per case basis. And in general, everybody in the company will need these two access, web traffic and email traffic. Now, because we are exposing our users to the internet on these two protocols, or in fact three protocols, HTTP, HTTPS, and SMTP, it becomes very much necessary to have specialized tools in order to protect the employees from accessing web and from sending and receiving bad malicious emails. Now, to do that, we have two solutions. To protect the users from accidentally or even sometimes deliberately visiting malicious website, we have a solution called as web gateway, sometimes referred to as web proxy, or sometimes I'll just say it as proxy. So to protect the users from accidentally or even deliberately visiting malicious website. So in your company, when you say that, when you see the message saying that something has been blocked when you try to access a website, it's basically the web gateway that is doing it, not the firewall. It's the web gateway that does it. And then to protect the users from malicious email attachments and phishing links, we have a solution called email gateway. So, or sometimes referred to as email security solution. Email gateway, email security solution. Now we'll just take a look at each of these tools or solutions and understand their features. Again, before I get into that, I just want to clarify one thing that yesterday we talked about firewall and IPS. We did not go deep into it. We did not look into any demonstrations or hands-on for firewall and IPS. And the same case will be for today and tomorrow as well. The reason is that as a security analyst, we need to understand these concepts. Right, so we need to understand the concept of firewall, for the concept of IPS, web gateway, email gateway. We are not trying to become administrators of the solution. So having a high level knowledge is good enough for a security analyst. Okay, that's why the pace of the training is also a little faster, and we cover only the very high level topics regarding a specific solution to whatever extent we should know. Okay, so we are not trying to become an expert in firewall. We are not trying to become an expert in IPS. That is not our domain of, our primary responsibility. It will be taken care by network security team or network teams. Atul, please watch the videos shared yesterday. You will be able to understand what 44380 SMTP FTP means. So to start with, web gateway. Sure, Jamal. So what does a web gateway do? A web gateway monitors users web traffic. So whenever an employee in the company is trying to access a website, right? So nowadays everything is mostly HTTPS. Every now and then we also see HTTP being used. So when the traffic is going on port number 80, there is HTTP, and port number 443 HTTPS, right? So that is what web traffic is. So the powerful features of web gateway include categorization and reputation. Now, this is one of the most powerful feature of web gateway. What is it? What is categorization and reputation? See, in order to block all the bad websites in the world, it is impossible for any administrator to know all the bad websites in the world, right? So, for example, even let's say I need to write a rule for WhatsApp, Facebook, Instagram, let's say, I don't know what not, right? So Snapchat, and there are probably at least 500 to 600 different types of websites. So knowing all these things and blocking them all in the firewall is not possible. Right? So, for example, let's say gambling. Or Trellix now, or Fortinet. So these are all the vendors of cybersecurity solutions. So what these vendors have done, especially the web gateway vendors, they have created the categories for different types of websites, and they crawl the web. They crawl the web. They look at all the websites, and based on some algorithms, they will be able to categorize them into different categories. For example, so it could be a gambling category. It could be sports, news, fashion, e-commerce related website, social networking website, adult websites, terrorism related website, malicious websites that will distribute malware. So like this, the web gateway will be able to categorize it. I mean, this is the strength of the vendor. Every vendor has their own unique way of learning and categorizing the websites. Okay, so and then this database of information, where let's say somebody is trying to access Facebook, that belongs to social networking category. Somebody is trying to access Amazon, so that belongs to e-commerce category. So this the web gateway will be able to understand. Now, if I want to block the gambling website, all the administrator has to do is block the gambling category, which will ensure close to around 95 to 98% of the gambling website being blocked. Again, this might not be completely 100%, but close to 90 to 95% the gambling websites will be blocked, which is considerably good enough versus writing a firewall rule for every gambling website. Okay, so here is a link where we have the, I'll show you the link. But before I show you the link, so apart from categorizing the website, the vendors also look at the reputation of the website. And they will reputation basically from a security point of view. And they will give a rating like high risk, medium risk, low risk, unknown. For example, there's a website being used for a distribution of malware. That means there are some links where you can download the files, and those files turn out actually are malware files. So in that case, we'll consider them as high risk. Right. So then there will be medium risk and low risk. Low risk is all your good website. You go to any of the news related things or fashion related things, sports websites. All these might be low risk. And for the websites, maybe you are visiting a website that is very rare, and the vendor has or the web gateway doesn't still know the category of that website. Then it will be unknown. It doesn't know the category, it doesn't know the reputation of the website, so it will be unknown. It doesn't make sense, Akhil. The thing is, how can you decide which website will be useful for what employee? For example, the finance guys will go after a different set of websites, right? So the engineering team might go and look for different kinds of website. And how can you limit? For example, when you want to do troubleshooting, can you only go to Stack Overflow and get the information? No, you might have to surf maybe 4 or 5 different websites to get the solution for an issue that you are facing. So there is no limit on what kind of websites you might need to visit. So it is not possible for us to, for administrator to allow all the websites that we want to allow and block the rest. That cannot happen here. That is correct, Sandeep. Like say when they crawl the website and they obviously look at the content, and they will have their own algorithms, some machine learning, right? So and based on that, they will categorize it. And sometimes every now and then we'll also encounter where the categorization might be incorrect as well. Okay, I'll just show you the link. How does it look like? What? So here, this is the link where you see, let me just, where you see the different, let's say, categories of websites for Palo Alto Web Gateway. Palo Alto does not have a dedicated web gateway. It is combined with their next generation firewall. So there is some abortion related website, right? So abused drugs related website, adult websites. So alcohol and tobacco, auctions, business. So probably we might want to block, let's say adult website. We want to block abused drug website. We might want to block abortion related website, but we don't want to block business and economy. Command and control, very dangerous. This is a malicious websites, right? So these are the computers in the internet that are acting as a command center for malwares. So we will not be knowing. If you see, they have not given any sample websites here. Okay, so why? Because the attackers will keep changing the domains. The attackers will keep changing the domain, so there is no fixed domains for that. Computer and internet information, which is again a good website, content delivery network, CDNs, cryptocurrency related, financial service, extremism. We have government websites, games related, legal related. So like this, we have around 67 or 68 different. Okay, now they have increased. Uh, all these are new ones. Marijuana. Okay, so there are a total of 75 different categories that Palo Alto has. So, and then there are also risk category: high risk, medium risk, low risk. Let's say instead of calling unknown, newly registered domain. This is the Palo Alto categorization. It will do automatically. It will do automatically, as I said. See, basically, if I had to go a little bit deeper into that, okay, let me see if I have a slide for that. No. So how does it work? Is basically the vendors would have kept crawlers, or maybe let's call it as interceptors, at every different place in the world. Let's say they keep a couple of them in Europe, couple of them in, let's say, Asia, couple of them in US, or the NA region, and they completely keep on crawling, right? So they keep on crawling and checking if a particular IP address, public IP address, has HTTP or HTTPS open. And if they have the things open, they will try to map the domain. When they have the domain, they download the content of the website. It's not a big deal to do through scripts. It's not a big deal. And they go through the contents of the website, and then they have their own algorithms to categorize things, right? So, and they categorize it. So, and these crawlers will continuously be running. So that's why a website might not be categorized today, but if you check it after 1 week, it might be categorized. But it happens automatically. Okay, so apart from the categorization and reputation, Web Gateway also does few other things. So what are the other features of Web Gateway apart from categories? Is basically we'll be able to allow or block websites based on categories. Will be allowed, or let's say, or block the websites based on the URLs. That means you don't always have to use the categories. You can even directly go and block one single URL only. For example, in my company, I don't want to block social networking websites, but I don't want users to allow Instagram. So I will only block Instagram, but other social networking websites will be running, like facebook.com. Let's say we can give the keywords, right? So, or even the subdomain as well. And there is a possibility that users might actually download something from the websites. It happens a lot, right? So users might be downloading something from the website. That's why most of the web gateways, most of the web gateways will also have a feature to scan the malicious file downloads. So when somebody is trying to download the file, it will be scanned first by the web gateway. There will be an antivirus module within web gateway. That antivirus module will help in scanning any files that the user is trying to download from a specific website. So where do we place this? Ideally speaking, this traffic has to be, the traffic flows in this direction whenever a user accesses internet, like for web or SMTP. So ideal placement will be somewhere here. But you see, the web gateway will only scan port number 80 and 443 and nothing else. It does not scan any other protocols at all. But in our network here, in this link, there might be another 40 to 50 different protocols that are running. Maybe there is an RDP running, some database related, let's say ports are open, and there could be FTP, right? So NTP, DNS. So maybe there are under another 30 to 40 different protocols that are running through this network. Now, if I place this proxy here or the web gateway here, all the traffic has to pass through the web gateway. Of course, the web gateway doesn't do anything for other kinds of traffic. It does not care about other traffic like DNS or let's say it could be even SMTP or FTP. It does not care. But however, every traffic has to pass through the web gateway, which will unnecessarily introduce latency. It means we want to scan 10% of the traffic, but we are placing it in such a place where the web gateway, all the 100% traffic has to go through web gateway. So that's why this placement doesn't make sense. So what we typically do is web gateway will be placed in the server LAN. Now you might be thinking, how does it even help? Because the traffic is flowing in this direction. Why would the traffic go to the web gateway and then go to the internet? Obviously, it's not going to do automatically because the natural flow of the traffic is from the user machines through this switch, through this router, through the IPS firewall, and it will reach the internet. Why would the traffic even go to web gateway? Because that's where the decision to allow or to block the website is made. But nobody is going to the web gateway at all. That's when what we do is we force the users to use the proxy. You might have seen this in your company's laptop as well, that you have to configure a proxy setting. Right? So if you click on Windows button and click on proxy, you'll be able to get these settings. So without the proxy settings, let's say this is for Windows, this is for Mac, right? So what we do is basically whenever the user opens browser and tries to access any website, obviously the protocol is going, the protocol is going to be HTTP or HTTPS. We will force the user to go through the, let's say the traffic to go through proxy by providing this proxy configuration. Anytime the visitor is going to visit HTTP or HTTPS, it will first reach this particular address. It could also be an IP address, right? So that's how we force any, for example, let's say a user is trying to access Facebook, right? So instead of the traffic directly going through Facebook, what it does is, because now all the laptops and desktops are configured with proxy, the request goes to the web gateway first. In the web gateway, it will be checked against the policies. Is this user allowed to access Facebook? And if it is allowed, the proxy will initiate the request, a separate request. It will not just forward the request. It will initiate a separate request to Facebook. And then when Facebook responds back with its contents, the proxy will deliver it back to the user. This is the reason why it is sometimes called as proxy. It is doing the work on behalf of you. It is doing the job of getting the website on behalf of you. You are not directly going to connect to the Facebook, or users are not going to connect to the Facebook directly. A proxy will do it. So there is a in between a proxy for Facebook. That means the request is not come. It looks like the request is coming from proxy, but actually the request is coming from a user. Any questions so far? What is proxy? What are the features of proxy? What it does, and how we enforce our employees to use proxy in the company. Vishwajit, the difference is very obvious. We don't care about URLs in the firewall. Do we talk about URLs in the firewall? No, it's source IP, source port, destination IP, destination port, source zone, so the destination zone and action. So we never care about URLs, right? So there we block IP addresses and host names. Here we block URLs. There is no concept of categorization. Here there's a concept of categorization. So there I can block the traffic for any port and protocol. Web gateway will only block for HTTP, HTTPS. Anuj, I think you joined late. The whole class is about proxy. I think that's a good point. What if we disable the proxy? Let's say some advanced technical users, what they do, they might actually disable this settings. They'll just turn it off. Okay. Typically, they in most of the companies they switch it off. But let's say that they are able to switch it off. Then that means the traffic will directly go through the normal traffic like this, right? So the traffic will go through like this. Now let us see how we can tackle this. And when the website is blocked, the user will get a message like this, right? So access to the web page you are trying to visit has been blocked in accordance with the company's policy. Please contact your system administrator if you believe this is in error. So who is the user? Your username will appear here. What URL you're trying to access and what category it is. And if you feel that there is some problem, you can always contact your administrator so that they will let you access that page. When the user tries to bypass the proxy, the traffic flows something like this. So what we do in order to tackle this problem is basically we will block all the requests on the firewall. That means only the proxy IP address, only the proxy IP address will be allowed to access internet. Right. So let's say that 10.10.5.15 is the IP address of proxy. So what we do, we'll write two rules. 10.10.5.15 if the traffic is coming from 10.10.5.15, irrespective of the source port, trying to reach any IP address in the internet on port number 80 or 443, allow the traffic. If the traffic is coming from any other website, trying to reach any other users or any other computers, trying to reach any website on port number 80 and 443, block it. So now, when the user, when the proxy requests a particular page, it will be allowed by the firewall because the rule number 1 will trigger. When a user tries to access the website, obviously the user's IP address is not 10.10.5.15. So it's going to be dropped. You see how a couple of technologies will work together in order to achieve the overall security. It is definitely going to be a security incident. Let's say when a user tries to disable proxy or attempts for that. Proxy, let's say VPN proxies are internet related things, Kirti. So even if you're trying to use VPN, the protocols will still be wide open. The protocols will still be wide open. You cannot encrypt the entire packet. For example, you can write the content of the letter. You can write the content of the letter in a coded language to your friend, but you cannot write the address in coded language. You cannot write the address in coded. If you write the address in coded language, then it will not reach anywhere. So the TCP/IP header will not be encrypted. So we will still know whether it is an HTTP traffic, HTTPS traffic, SMTP traffic. We'll just not be able to read the contents. In fact, uh, there will be list Control A, Control F. See here, this is where all your VPNs will be blocked. I can actually block anybody from using proxy or public VPNs. How do we enforce employees from using proxy? I just told you that by using our firewall rule, we will not let the employees connect to the internet at all. So obviously they have to come through the proxy only. That means basically when they disable the proxy settings in their computer, the internet will stop working. Here again, we are not caring about the contents of the website, Jaishurya. So it doesn't. It's irrespective of whether what content it is, right? So there is also a content-based scanning, but we just need the URL. We just need the URL. So based on URL, we'll be able to take the decision irrespective of the contents of the website. Yeah, when the request is served, after crossing the firewall, it will come back to the proxy. The proxy will distribute it back to the users. The response. Yes, absolutely. We can. It's not the setting on the browser. It's actually setting on the system. But yes, typically applicable for browser traffic, HTTPS traffic. And of course, you can configure it through group policy, and we can also make sure that the users will not be able to change the settings. Okay, Narsimula is talking the same thing. Let's not go to the proxy chain. Do we do web gateways also do DNS resolving? Depends. There is a possibility that the DNS can be configured on the web gateway, but typically a lot of customers, administrators will avoid that in order to reduce the overloading of a proxy. So we'll have a separate dedicated DNS which will resolve the IP address, and then it will be the URL, the proxy. That is correct, Manoj. If we keep near the proxy, if we keep near the router here, it is unnecessary. Lot of traffic is passing through the proxy where it doesn't inspect that at all. If the user is using a public proxy or public VPNs, yes, nobody can guarantee you the security. Basically, the provider of the VPN can read all your data. There's no limit on that, Aisha. So there's no, let's say, theoretical limits on how many links you can block. Right, so you can block all the website by just one rule, right? So, but yes, there is no limit as such. Of course, Vishwajit, it definitely tries to store a record. Does it? I think that's the part of my next slide. Yeah, let me just quickly cover the rest of the one more slide. So for a security analyst, how do we use web gateway? Right. So as I told you that we are all trying to become the administrators of web gateway. We are not the one who is going to configure these web gateways. Then as a security analyst, how do we use it? All right. So because all the web traffic passes through the web gateway, a SOC analyst can use it to check the following details. First one, what are the websites a user has visited? So all of this is basically in the form of logs. So when a user, let's say Raju tries to access Facebook and according to the policy it is blocked, so there will be a log. At so and so time on so and so date, Raju from 10.10.5.15 tried to access Facebook, which belong to the category of social networking, and because of this particular XYZ policy, so I have blocked this traffic. So all these details will be present in that log. So because of this, we'll be able to tell what are the website a specific user has visited. So if any user in the company has visited a specific website, let's say. So see, before I get into this, I just need to tell you about what security analyst does. Security analyst job is an investigation job. Okay, something is happening in your network, something unusual is happening in your network, and you have to figure out whether this unusual activity is genuine good activity or is it really a bad activity. Right. So, for example, an administrator logs in at 11 p.m. Right. So at night, an administrator logging will happen. Now, is it always wrong? We don't know. Maybe somebody is working late in the office. Right. So, but it's our responsibility to investigate why, if it is the actual administrator who is logging in, and we'll confirm that. And when we contact the administrator and say yes, I'm in office or I'm connected through VPN, I was doing this work, then we will ignore that alert, confirming that, like say, checked with the administrator, the user, and let's say they are connecting through VPN and logging in. So hence closing it as false positive. That means basically this was not a dangerous alert at all. It was a genuine activity, but it was unusual. We don't typically see administrator logging at 11 p.m. We saw it, we investigated it and confirmed that it was a good activity. And let's say no alarms are run. So what I'm trying to say is that our job is an investigation job. So every now and then we will be asking question like, so this particular user, I'm interested in knowing here, let's say on his computer, let's say his laptop is behaving a little suspiciously. What are the websites the user has visited recently or in the last 1 week? Or sometimes there will be a URL that we will be identified through some investigation. We'll finally reach out. Okay, fine. This URL is malicious. Okay, this URL is dangerous, is malicious. So now my question is, did anybody in my company visit this website? So all these details will be stored in the web gateway logs. So the second scenario that I explained, basically I have a website. Now I want to check if anybody in the company, one of our users, have they ever visited this specific website? So I'll apply the filter, website is equal to this, check. And if anybody has visited that website, we'll get the logs of that. How many times a website has been visited by a user? How much data has been sent or received between users and the web server? What browser is the user using? Action taken by the antivirus module on a specific on malicious files, right? So all these types of details we'll be able to get from web gateway. So see, as a security analyst, I don't configure it, but I just use web gateway to get answers for these kind of questions during my investigation. Ram, please frame a question. Asking it to repeat is not a good thing. So please frame a question. What are the fields we want to focus? Is there a dedicated category in web gateway for VPN sites? Yes, I did show you, Ravindra. It's anonymizers. They are called as anonymizers. They will anonymize the users who are using their services. Anonymizer basically means making you hidden. If any website designer have made their website by SSL certificate, then it is very easy. Then it will be easy to categorize and block the websites. Depend on firewall and proxy can be dependency. No, 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 no. That is not how it works, Jay Surya. So you are getting the concept little differently. See, the thing is, today every website is a HTTP website. Everybody uses HTTPS only. Okay, and that is the security practice. That's so that, let's say, anything communication from you and the user and the website is encrypted. In fact, Google has already announced that in a couple of years they will not even list HTTP websites. So compulsorily you have to be on HTTPS only. So that is not a bad thing. What these guys are talking about using VPN services or encryption services is basically from the public VPNs. In what sense, which comes first? Ramya, is it in the flow of traffic or is it in the as a concept as to if a company has limited budget, should they install firewall or web gateway? If that is the question, then I would always go with firewall first. Firewall is more important than gateway. In fact, today's next generation firewall also have the web gateway capabilities. Okay, see, investigation is investigation, Jitu. The thing is, so when you are investigating, let's say you might have watched a few, let's say, detective movies or series. So in a murder case, what comes first? Fingerprint or blood analysis? Both of them are important. So let's say in a robbery case where there is no blood involved, there has a robbery happened, there is no blood involved. So will you try to do a blood analysis there? No, because there's no blood to analyze. So that's how it works. So it all depends on what we are investigating, how the traffic flow could have happened. If there's no use, if the attacker has not used HTTP website at all, or sorry, HTTP or HTTPS protocols at all, then we don't even have to investigate the web traffic. Fingerprint, yes. But what I'm trying to say is that you have to do both. In a murder case, you have to use both fingerprint, also blood analysis. You have to do both in a murder case. Right. So, and if there is no blood, like in a robbery case, even that is the case, right? That is also a different type of case that we have to solve, where there is a robbery, but there is no blood involved. So will you do blood analysis there? We don't. So it depends on case to case basis. It depends on alert to alert basis in the world of SOC. We'll talk about it. We'll create some scenarios. We'll talk about what kind of let's say log sources we call them. We call all of these as log sources later on when we talk about the concept of SIM. So should I check the firewall log? Should I check the email gateway log? Should I check the web gateway log? Should I check the AV logs? All these details we'll talk about later on. Ravi KP, you were asking a question. We notice the files on desktop. Why would you notice a file on a desktop? You cannot notice a file on a desktop. If any user in your company is storing a new file on the desktop, you will not be able to know that. If he is downloading from the internet, the web gateway will know that. No problem, Jitu. Let's say it happens. Let's say as and when you go deeper and deeper and try to connect all the dots, right? So a lot of things will become clear to you. Now, see, my concept is not to give you each and every single detail about the technology, right? I give you enough knowledge so that when you start exploring the world on your own, right? So now at least you know that yes, I have to understand a little bit of firewall. I have to understand a little bit of IPS. I have to understand a little bit of web gateway, email gateway. So I'm just giving you the topics to focus on. Otherwise, the internet is a wild. That's why they say right www. So you will be lost in researching about cybersecurity, but at least you're getting a path on what I should be learning. Uh, Harman, we'll just reserve these questions later on because we are not talking about security analysis right now. I just gave you I just wanted to relate the web gateway topic to security analysis as to how exactly we'll make use of it, because a lot of people still don't know what security analysis is. We don't know how we collect the logs. We don't know how to see the logs. So we'll park these kind of questions for now. We'll definitely pick the solution and begin the investigation part. A web gateway can check the payload part if the payload is not encrypted. But in today's case, as I told you, most of the most of the website use HTTPS, so it's difficult unless we use some SSL offloading. Web gateway will not be able to look into the contents. Okay. Okay, Magic Portal access. Sure, guys. Let me just complete that part also. I'll give you 5 minutes. Please fill this form. I'm giving it now. It's a simple form. You just enter your name and your email address. That's it. I see Akhil, Ravi, Atharva, Jamal, Rakesh, Swati, Narsimha, Neha, Ravi Teja, Mohammed Sahil. Okay, please make sure that your email address is correct. Okay, a lot of you guys are doing. Okay, I see 360 or 370 responses. For students who are already SOC expert students and we already have the magic portal, you can continue to use that because we'll not be able to add the same email address again. But again, there is no difference, right? So you already have the access. Let's say we will stop accepting the links. So the form here after 5 minutes. I'll stop the form in one more minute. You should have the access. Give us time till tomorrow maximum. We'll try to do it today itself. If it fails today, then definitely we'll definitely do it by tomorrow. Patrick, the question is basically to fill the form. It's not a question, but we are asking you to fill the form so that we can get the magic portal access. Yes, you will get a welcome email from magic portal through which you will have to set a password and fill the form. That means complete your profile and then start using all the features of the product. I will do that, Prashant. Tomorrow I'll just probably start a little bit with magic portal. Just show you around what and all we can do. Mock interviews, Jitu, yes, there will be mock interviews. We'll show that. But again, the thing is, for the students earlier, we used to give it for free. but now you have to pay it. I would not recommend. Again, it's not, again, there is no selling or upselling here. So if you don't want it, you don't have to take it. So there's no compulsory. There's no compulsion on anything for payments. So you don't have to do it. But imagine that, let's say 500 people, if we give free access, everybody wants to raise a request for mock interview. So we will be flooded with requests. One interview, 100 rupees. So it's like almost $1.2. And we are trying to restrict the cyber genies. That means the people who conduct our mock interviews. We're trying to restrict it with a very closed group of people, so that, let's say, you get quality responses. That means, let's say, not any, because all our previous batch students who have worked in the industry for at least 6 months can actually conduct your mock interviews. It's a platform where you can connect with your alumni as well. So for this batch, what we'll do is we'll make sure that the requests are only handled by senior professionals, so that you get quality inputs. I mean, quality questions during the mock, and also quality inputs for all your questions. I'll show all those things tomorrow, Priyanka ji. So just give it some time. How to use the magic portal. So, and all those things, I'll show you. Sure, Jitu. Thank you for understanding. You don't have to pay for this course, Vijaya. The course is free. So the entire, let's say, the next 1 month of training, all the live classes, like the classes that you're attending like this, are completely free of cost. Abhishek, just hold on till we complete this thing, and then we'll go back to the technical topics. Yes, you will get the certificate. You see, this is the reason why we typically don't let people join from second day onwards, because on the first day we have covered all these points already. Yes, Patrick, you can definitely avail the feature of mock interviews. I'll show you tomorrow. So reserve all your questions as to what happens within Magic Portal for tomorrow. Yes, Sai, there will be the mentorship for freshers as well. Gautam, again, I don't want to give the answer, because one of the assignment is to figure for you guys to figure out the vendors of these different technologies. Whatever technologies we did so far, one of the assignment is that, because we want you to explore the world of cybersecurity rather than we giving you direct answers. We want you to explore and try to figure out yourself what are the products available in the market. No, Chitu, we cannot do that, unfortunately. Sorry. If you start giving that, the problem is that again we have to keep responding for all the verification emails. Please take Q&A in the evening time. I mean, let's say it's a technical Q&A. I don't mind answering it, because sometimes if you have a question in mind, it will keep bothering you. So I'm a kind of person who believes that a technical question of the relevant topic that we are discussing should be clarified then and there. Of course, again, I try to limit it. I don't try to deviate much from the topic of discussion, and we'll try to cater to as many questions as possible, but not all the questions, keeping the time in interest. I think portal registration is enough, Mahesh.
Career related questions will all be handled later on. Okay, so I am stopping the form now. Without fighting, without yelling at anybody in the group, politely please inform your friends who have not got the magic portal access that they will be getting it in next batch. Okay, the administrator Uday, who takes care of all these things, will be fed up of answering questions to people. Okay, let's come back to the class. As soon as we add this email address, we'll update it in the group, and you guys can check your email address. I mean, your inbox. You should have received the email. We will tell you when we have already done it, so you get to know whether your email address is added or not. Guys, don't worry too much about the certificate. It's a useless certificate. What are you going to do with SOC expert certificate? Yes, it shows that you have attended the training, but it is not a globally recognized certificate. So yes, you will get it after 1.5 months. You will get the certificate. You can automatically download it on the portal, but don't worry too much about it. You can download it yourself. All right. The next topic is email gateway. So we were discussing about how we let our users connect to the internet because of two different reasons. One is web traffic and other one is email traffic. So the email traffic, as we discussed, there's a possibility that somebody might send one of our users an email with a malicious attachment or a malicious link, or we also receive a lot of spam emails. So to tackle this, we have email gateway or email security solution. So the email gateway is used to monitor users' incoming and outgoing email traffic that we already know. If the payload has virus, then it will block by web gateway. Yes, Abhishek, as we told you, so when we download any file, okay, so the payload, when you say payload has a file, doesn't mean that the file is entire file is within the packet. That is not how it happens, because there's a limit on how much a packet can carry. So if you are downloading a file, let's say 100 MB, it will be divided into probably some 3,000, 4,000 parts. So all the file, the parts will be assembled back, and the file will be formed again. So it's not that the file sits inside the payload, right? So the file, a part of file itself comes as a payload. And when the file is restructured again, put together, stitched it together, then we'll be able to scan the file. All right. So the email traffic will be scanned by the email gateway SMTP port number 25. What are the features? The first one is spam filtering. Very powerful feature. Let's say what happens is, let's say to help in filtering spam. And what is spam? Spam is basically unwanted emails. You get all those promotional emails, right? So that is spam. And 80% of the internet's email traffic is spam. You'll notice it when you go to your Google or Gmail account. You might have 1 or 2 emails in your primary mailbox, but in promotion, social, and let's say others, you will have at least 10 or 15 emails. Right, so 80% of the internet email traffic is spam. So it becomes very much necessary to block emails. So spam detection works based on a proprietary algorithm. So you don't have any control on how to detect spam. It is the strength of every vendor who develops email gateway. They will write their own proprietary algorithms in order to detect the spam email. What can we control is basically the score. So each email is given a score between 1 to 10. After the mail is scanned, the email will be given a score, spam score of 1 to 10. Some vendors give it from 1 to 10. Some vendors give it from 1 to 100. So basically 2 is equal to 20, 5 is equal to 50, 7 is equal to 70, like that. So the email might be having a score of 2.8, 4.9, 7.0, etc. Now, depending on the algorithm, when you pass an email through the spam check, the score might be 2.8, 4.9, 7.0. Now, as an administrator, you can configure what do you want to do with this score. So, for example, as administrator, anything less than 4, I will consider it as a good email and I'll send it directly to the recipient mailbox, to whomever it is intended to their inboxes. I'll send the email after scanning. So if the score is between 4.1 to 7.0, it is not dangerous, but it is suspicious because the score is high. Okay. So how do I get a score? Just to give one example. Okay. This is not the only way that it calculates the score. I'm just giving you one example. Let's say we are looking for the word bomb. We are looking for the word bomb or something like lottery, something like that, right? And if the word appears 3 times and the weightage of the word is, let's say, 0.5. And if the word appears 3 times in the email, the score of the email will be 1.5. Again, this is just one simple example that I'm giving you, one factor. Like this, there are hundreds of factors that will be considered in order to decide the score of the email. Okay, and when you notice something good, the score will also decrease. The score will also decrease. So overall, when the email passes through the algorithm, an overall score will be given. So that means every email, even if you send a genuine email, even that email might have a score. Let's say around 1, 1.5, 2, like that, which is a good email. So anything between 4.1 to 7.0, it's a suspicious email. So what we do, see, it's a suspicious, not a bad email. It looks suspicious. So we still don't know whether it's bad or good. So instead of sending it to the user's mailbox, we'll send it to their spam folder. Right. So Gmail has a spam folder option. So all the emails that are suspicious looking will go and sit there. And you might have noticed every now and then, even good emails actually go to spam. Because it is 50-50. It could be bad, it could be good. Then anything above 7 is definitely a spam. So I'll definitely block it. So that is the spam filtering is the first thing. Then we have the anti-spoofing feature. So we'll talk about anti-spoofing later on and how do we detect it as a part of our phishing analysis class. So email spoofing is a email header forgery where the message appears to have originated from someone else other than the actual source. For example, it might come from manager@citibank.com if this is the actual email, right? So it will look like it is coming from manager@citibank.com, but it has been forged. So in order to tackle this, we have SPF, DKIM, DMARC. Don't worry too much about it right now because we'll be spending complete day on email analysis, one full day on email analysis. Anti-phishing. So obviously the attackers will always not send they will always, sorry, they not, oh, come on, what's happening to my English? So they don't send attachments all the time in order to compromise the victim. Sometimes they will just send a link where when the user clicks on the link, it will download something or it will ask you to fill a form where you will end up giving sensitive information, right? So that is phishing emails, and a lot of emails are equipped with handling such kind of URLs, the phishing links. It happens at a server level. The server, all the folders that you have in your mailbox, also there's a replica of that in your server, right? So it goes actually in the server. You don't, it doesn't come to you. The mail always will be in the server, and you just connect your using your Outlook or any web form. You connect to the server contents. So phishing is a type of social engineering where an attacker sends a fraudulent message designed to trick the human victim into revealing sensitive information or to download a malicious attachment. So we will be making use of threat intelligence and machine learning algorithms to detect phishing emails. Now, again, what is threat intelligence? One dedicated day. I think by today is tomorrow, Saturday. By Monday, or if I'll try to do a class on Saturday as well because I'm running behind one class already. So I'll try to do a class on Saturday so that I can cover it up. Beekeeper. All right, Atul, I did not watch it, but I'll definitely watch it so that I can advise to other people if it is good. But we do have an assignment where you will be watching a movie and we'll be asking questions on the movie as well. Thanks for referring that. Beekeeper. Okay, then email gateway will also need malware defense because attacker can send attachments through the email and these attachments can be malicious. So in order to scan the attachment, so the email gateway solution will also do malware scanning of all the attachments. That means again, email gateway also has a built-in antivirus module. It also does file filtering. That means it can limit the file based on the name, based on the extension, or based on the size. As you might see in most of the corporate world, you might not receive the mail, let's say attachment bigger than 10 MB or let's say 20 MB. There'll be a restriction on the size. Sometimes you will not be able to receive the files extension based on the extension. There'll be blocking. Blocking by file name is rare because you don't know what names to block. So, but extension and file size filtering, very good. So email gateway placement, where do we keep it? So email gateway, see, first of all, we have the email server, which is used to send and receive emails, right? So then two different forms of email server. You see the blue ones, there's the email server here, there's the email server here. Now this is a standard practice of Microsoft Exchange server. Again, in once upon a time in 1947, we used to use Exchange servers. Now they are outdated. What I mean to say is, again, when I say 1947, maybe 7-10 years ago, Exchange servers were very common. Every company used to have Exchange servers. Today also, quite a few companies have them, but a lot of companies have been migrated to O365. That means on cloud. So you don't have to install a server. You will have it in cloud. Right. So, but in a traditional way, if you understand the Exchange server, there will be multiple roles. Two important roles are edge role and a mailbox role. Edge role is responsible for sending and receiving emails in and out of the company. Right. So if your company domain is socexperts.com, if you want to send a mail to any email address apart from socexperts.com, then the edge server will be involved. The mail will automatically be routed to the edge server. The edge server will communicate with the destination server and send the email. Mailbox server means this is where all your mailbox will be stored. So web gateway will be placed near the edge server. When the mail comes in, right? So when the email comes in, it will be scanned thoroughly with all the checks: spam check, anti-phishing check, right? So anti-spoofing check, file filtering, if there are attachment, malware. All these will happen in an order, specific order of how the gateway has been designed. And if it, let's say, if any of the policies in any of the checks matches, for example, it matches a spam filter check, it matches a file filtering check, then the mail will be blocked or quarantined. If everything is, if it passes all the checks, then the mail will be allowed to the edge server. The edge server will decide the mail has to, the edge server will decide that the mail has to go to the user's mailbox and the user will be able to access it. So now how do security analysts use email gateway? So again, because all the email traffic passes through the email gateway, a SOC analyst can use it to check the following. What are the emails received by a specific recipient? How many emails are sent by a specific sender? How many emails are sent with the same subject line? How many attachments are there in a specific email? What is a score or spam score of a specific email? So to answer all these kinds of questions, again, why do you want to ask all these questions? Because this is required as a part of your investigation. Think security analyst job is equal to a detective job. Think about what the detective does. The detective tries to find answers. Who was the last person to see the victim alive? Who was the last person who spoke to the victim on phone? Right. So did the victim has had any fights recently? Right. So is the victim a drug abuser? So see, it's all questions, questions, questions. When you try to find answers to these questions, the case will start becoming more and more clear to you. Similarly, when we investigate an alert, so we ask a lot of questions. So, and we get the answers in the form of logs. And through those logs, we'll get the clarity as to what is actually happening. We'll be able to paint the picture of the alert as to why it is happening. And then with the complete details, we'll be able to make a decision whether it's an incident or it is a just a legitimate activity. All right, so I'll stop here. We'll continue the class tomorrow. And tomorrow, the first thing, the first thing I'll be doing is showing you how to use the magic portal. So please join on time. Except on rare occasions, I typically don't like tardiness. My apologies for yesterday's class. I typically will be on time, and please try to be on time as well so that we can start the class. And more importantly, you will not miss uh, the information on magic portal. Excellent, Ravindra. I am happy that the book has helped you. Very good. We'll talk about that, Neeraj, when the forensics will be involved. We'll talk about that. Uh, Yesterday's and today's assignment is only one assignment, basically to try to figure out the different vendors of the solutions that we discussed. Like say, what are the different popular firewalls in the market, popular IPSs in the market, popular email gateway, web gateways. But we can do it tomorrow because I'll show you how to download the assignments and how to complete the assignments. No, Sandeep, okay. We will not be able to get to know through email gateway. No, we will not. And even we can get to know it from the Exchange server, but the administrators will not have the authority to check anybody's emails. Palo Alto link, sure, why not? NGFW is quite often used for with small to mid-sized companies. Rakesh, are the classes being recorded? Sure, Sandeep, thank you very much. Let's say my entire life I have spent in, my entire career, let's say last 13 years I've spent in SOC. And I started working in SOC from the day it was being discussed. So when I started SOC and SIM and everything, even it was very difficult to find information about SOC on Google also. So good old days. But let's say we have evolved a lot from there. As I promised, let's say some people asked for my career background. I will definitely talk about it. It's a journey by itself. I also talk about the approaches that I take in terms of hunting career. What is my mindset, and how I approach job markets, and what I expect from job market, and how to negotiate. So how I kind of created my career. Uh, so I'll definitely talk about. Let's say I'm pretty sure say there will be some interesting learnings for you guys as well. Chito, I'll talk about it later. All right, guys. So that's it from my side today. You guys have a wonderful rest of the day. Let's meet tomorrow. Continue our discussion on endpoint security solution. Take care. Bye bye.